Thanks for clicking on State of the City. My name's Todd Prafke. I'm the City Administrator here in St. Peter. It's great to be with you here today on State of the City, whether you're clicking on us on Facebook or maybe on our YouTube channel or off our website. Thanks for clicking on us and, sticking around at least for a few seconds. So I have a couple different things that I want to cover today on the 6th of December. First of all, I want to talk about the workshop from just Monday night. You'll see there are 3 agenda items on there. One of them relates to the general fund levy and budget. You'll want to pay attention. I have a few graphics for this one. This is about taxes, so I'm sure you'll want to pay really close attention. The next one is about some enterprise fund budgets. And so those enterprise fund budgets are wastewater, water, and stormwater funds. So I'll talk about those. We already have budgets for the 2020 year, and the goal here was to provide an update for the council. So I'll talk about those just a little bit and give you some updated information for the 2020 year. And then, the last item is a review of the city administrator. That's something that they do on a regular basis, certainly once a year. And so I can't talk much about that because I wasn't there for that discussion. So the council will be making a report at their next council meeting, which is Monday night here on the 9th, about how that went. So with that, let me jump right into the general fund levy. I didn't pull these off my printer, so I got to grab them really quick here. Here we go, in the effort to have even fancier graphics than I normally have. Let me put up a what really is a PowerPoint slide about what's going on with the levy for the upcoming year. Now you can see the bullet points there, and just to give you a general overview, the budget and levy that we are proposing the council to approve on Monday night on the 9th is slightly lower than the levy that we proposed and the council approved in September. There's two sort of really specific reasons for that. One of which is that we had intended to buy a road grader, and the cost of that road grader was about $175,000, and it came in at about I'm sorry, did I say 175? I wish. $275,000, and so the one that we bought came in at $248,000-ish. So that's one of the primary reasons, and the kind of attached secondary reason for that is that when we sold equipment certificate debt, another way to think about that is we took out a loan and we issued proposals for that, and so banks bid on what the lower interest rate is, and so we got a great bid, and so that reduced our interest rates costs. So a less expensive, lower cost on the grader, coupled with interest reduction on the debt service, meant that we can have a slightly lower levy. So the numbers that you see on here reflect that, and so it shows a few slight changes. But maybe what I'll focus on most is this bullet point. And really, a house of $150,000 on the city share only should expect about a $16.50 increase in their property taxes from the city. So if you have a house that's about $150,000, you should expect, less than $20 tax increase. So I wanted you to be aware of that and see that. And if you want to see more information, there's great information in our workshop packet, which you can find on our website, and on the upcoming council meeting packet. There is, I can't remember exactly, but like 90 pages of general fund budget information. So you get to see everything that the city council gets to see. So if you want to look through that and you have questions, want to give us a call or give Sally a call, my finance director, we'd be happy to visit with you about that. We'll provide some more information, but maybe that's enough for a video blog for a State of the City. So, wanted to cover that one. Now let me cover also wastewater, stormwater, and water funds. We are not projecting any rate increase for the 2020 year. As I mentioned, we already have a budget for the 2020 year. We did 2-year budgets kind of together. 19 and 20 were together. So the next time we'll be talking about it is in the fall of 2020. This discussion with the City Council was to give them an update where things are at in relation to the 2019 year. Do we have any major course adjustments that are necessary for the 2020 year? And the answer to that is nope, no major course adjustments on any of those. So things are in line to work out the way that we hoped they would, the way that we planned they would for the 2020 year. So I wanted you to be aware of that. That's kind of the hit for the workshop. So now let me hit you on a few other ones. This isn't something that I've shared here before, but every time I visit with the Lions or the Rotary or the Chamber of Commerce Policy Committee or other groups, This is a graphic that I show almost every time. So you'll see on this graphic that there's a map of the city of St. Peter and then some bullet points here on the side, on this side of it. This map is really illustrating the city of St. Peter. This red line right here is illustrating the growth boundary, which is, well, as I'm pointing to the west, what we would call the second bluff line. So if you go out to the new high school and you look to the west, and there's a hill there, that's that second bluff line. So that red line represents that. And the plan that the city has undertaken is that we won't grow past that. And so all this area that you see in yellow is area that is not within the city limits yet, nor is it what we would call urbanized. It's not developed. There's not really houses on it that are in the style of or with blocks and stuff like that, like you see in a normal in a city. And so the bullet points are illustrating that the area that is urbanized with all the streets and everything is about 3,000 acres. The area that is colored here that is not urbanized, including these mauve kind of colored areas, are areas that are planned for the city at some point in the future, whether it's 10 or 20 or 75 years from now. And the yellow illustrates that it'll be residential in nature. The mauve here, or pinkish, or, well, it depends on the color of your screen there, that's planned to be industrial. And so what we're really saying is that in this area of 3,000 acres right now, we have about 12,000 people living. And so with the same density, if we occupy this remaining 2,000 acres or so, that means that our population will get to be, well, some place between maybe 18,500 and 19,500 people, maybe 20,000 people, give or take a little bit. Now that is super helpful information to have as we're planning infrastructure, as we're thinking about the future, and as we're doing cooperative planning efforts, whether it's with the county or the school district or the soil and water conservation district or whoever it might be, because population drives lots of stuff. It drives parks, it drives number of desks that you need in a school, size of your school. It drives the amount of water we need to pump from the ground and treat so that people can have it for cooking and bathing and all of those kind of things. It drives the amount of wastewater that we're going to have. It drives the amount of electricity that we need. And so having a really good idea about kind of what the, so to speak, the target is really an important planning tool and one that we take really seriously. I won't spend a lot more time talking about this one, but I would love to. If you have a group organization that's really interested in this, or you want me to come out and talk about really anything with the city, I really love to visit more about the value of this and how this data and information not only helps us do things well, but saves you money in the long run. Now, let me do a quick on the saves you money part. Here's a great example. These red lines where this kind of cross is right there indicate where there is likely to be a major road intersection. It would be bad to have a house built there that then we have to buy or tear down or do something with before we can build a roadway there, right? So let's plan in advance, because there's not enough money to do this stuff twice. Once sometimes there's not enough money for it, but to do it twice, we certainly don't. So this helps us be more cost efficient as well. So anyway, that's kind of my short story on that one. Let me get to some other tidbits. I want to mention census. We have a complete count committee, and this is some data that gets put out by the United States government, is that every person that we have that lives in St. Peter that doesn't get counted means that over the next decade, we will lose out on about $15,000. Now that might be school funding, it might be road funding, it might be all kinds of different things. But for every person that doesn't get counted that lives here, we lose out on about $15,000 over the next decade. So let's get everybody counted, right? That's really important for us all. And the committee's role, the Complete Count Committee's role, is to help us encourage folks that are in maybe undercounted populations. We have some data that shows that we have a couple of populations that live within our community that are undercounted. So we want to make sure that we're counting everyone and helping those people, along with everyone else, feel comfortable about filling out the census material. Maybe we'll even have ways to help people get that done or to help them do it electronically. But that Complete Count Committee is going to start meeting in about another week, and so we're excited to get that rolling. Census is going to happen in March and April of 2020, so it's time for us to get that rolling. And we want to encourage you to fill out your information and stand up and be counted here in St. Peter. This next week is the first off week of recycling, now that we've gone back to every other week recycling. So this week we had recycling. Next week, so the week of the 9th, there will not be recycling. But there is some fantastic information on our website, and we sent a lot of this information out in just this utility bill that you would have gotten probably 4 or 5 or 7 days ago about recycling tips and information about how to recycle. I promised that I'd have a bunch of recycling tips. So let me give you one other really great recycling tip. Things like candy wrappers and plastic, the ring things that hold together 6-packs of pop. Those things, just while they may be recyclable, they aren't recyclable in our system. The equipment that kind of takes care of a lot of the recycling work can't kind of figure those out exactly. And so for today, those things are not recyclable. Let me throw out the one other tip that I've had more people comment back to me or not, so maybe it's not worth throwing out, but I will just in case this is one of your first video blogs, is that for a milk jug or a vinegar jug or one of those plastic crinkly water bottles, those caps are recyclable, but they only really get recycled if they are attached to the bottle. That's another thing where when we recycle them, we haul them up to the processing location, that if the cap isn't attached, the machines, it blows out, and so it doesn't get put in the right pile with the milk jug or water bottle. And so make sure if you want to recycle those caps, which are recyclable, attach them as best you can on there. That's a really big deal as well. So watch for that. I also want to mention that we are still working with Traverse Green, and you know, my parents told me this too. Paying rent is kind of like throwing away money at some point, and that we have the opportunity to help you, even though you might not think you can afford it, even though you might be kind of a moderate income. We have opportunity to help people get into a home of their own. So please give us a call. There's great information here, and here's one of the phone numbers that you can call, 934-0661, and ask for Russ and ask about Traverse Green, and we'll be more than happy to help you out with that. I also want to mention the Hot Sheet, the weekly newsletter. You can get it sent to your email box. Or you can click on our website and see it if you need or are interested in one thing that kind of gives you great information about what's going on in the city. This is maybe that best one-place shop to get that to happen. I'm running out of time. Let me be quick. Here we go. Here's some information about email address where you can find us on our website. Here's our Facebook page. Give me a call. Love to hear from you. Here's our Twitter account, our Twitter handle. And here's where you can find us. Council meetings, school board meetings, county commissioner meetings on YouTube. Love to have you click on that and watch all those things. Phew, that's it. I'm going to stop. Now, I'm going to do one more of these before we get to the holiday season, so watch for that. We'll have some tidbits about things that are going on. But until then, thanks for clicking on State of the City.